Welcome to my channel. My name is Kathy Merkel-Roddy, and today we're going to be talking about who we need to become in order to heal our voices. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and give you a little backstory about me, and so you kind of know where I'm coming from. Back in 2018, I had a traumatic thing happen, and I had a health crisis that came along with that traumatic thing, which included losing my ability to speak above a whisper, along with 30 other neurological symptoms. And that was, needless to say, a very low point for me, because I had spent the previous 30 some years as a professional singer entertainer, and suddenly my career was like pulled out from under me. I could not really function in life. I couldn't really tolerate much of anything because I had chronic fatigue. I had a sensitivity to light, sound, and temperature. I had a constant spasm from my right eye down my body. And then also, and I couldn't speak, and when I tried to speak, it would make me have a migraine headache and a lot of nausea. So it was a low point for me, obviously. But it was also very, very beneficial for me because I figured out how to heal myself, largely because I had this whole bundle of symptoms. You know, not much is really written about spasmodic dysphonia. First and foremost, it's kind of a rare condition, as you guys probably already know. And then also, the doctors don't know how to help you. And so when I got my diagnosis, they offered me Botox, but I declined that because I had a sense already that my condition was due to a combination of factors all weighing on me. And luckily, I went on to discover that, yes, I had heavy metals in my body. I had Epstein-Barr virus and shingles virus in my body. I also had a mold exposure. I had other extenuating factors, and then you throw in that trauma, which sent my nervous system off the deep end and caused me to burn out my neurons in my brain and basically short circuit. You know, I like to think of it as my nervous breakdown completely, because literally my nervous system broke down. It was no longer functioning properly. You know, oftentimes spasmodic dysphonia is a symptom of a nervous system that has become dysfunctional. Our voices are fine. There's nothing wrong with our vocal cords. It's the communication between our brain and our voices that's impeded somehow. And this happens because there's an inflammation along the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is a long nerve that goes all the way from the brainstem all the way down to our reproductive organs, and it controls things like your eyesight, your tearing in your eyes, your blinking. It controls your nose and your sense of smell, your mouth, your articulators, your saliva production, your swallowing, your voice, your breathing, your heart rate, and then it also has an impact on your reproductive system. So it is an important thing, but it's also the emotional center of the brain of the body. So when we have an upsetting time, either prolonged stress or we encounter one very traumatic kind of an event, that gives that vagus nerve an overstimulation, because the vagus nerve is basically reacting to all of the emotional impact that we're having with the whatever stress or trauma we're experiencing. When that happens, the myelin sheath that is protecting all of our nerves in our body becomes compromised. And little root hairs come off of that myelin sheath, and the pathogens that I mentioned earlier, the Epstein-Barr, the shingles, and also the heavy metals have access then to the nerve and can keep it inflamed chronically. So it's much like a cut on your hand. When you get a cut and you get a bacterial infection in the cut can no longer heal itself. But once you get rid of that infection, then the body knows what to do and knows how to root it out and begin to making the amends that need to happen for the cut to go away and the scab to fall off. The healing in our whole body happens in a very similar fashion. It happens from the inside out. So when we have spasmodic dysphonia, we have toxins in our liver. We have other things that are going on. Probably our digestion is not ideal. Our adrenal glands for sure are out of whack because we're in a constant state of fight or flight in this condition. So chances are, if you're like me, I was already in fight or flight before I got this condition. And then once I got it, then I went into fight or flight on steroids, basically. I became so fearful of everything. And it keeps you in this constant state of adrenaline, which again, the adrenaline itself is toxic to the vagus nerve and the controlling of the, of all that good stuff. So, today I want to talk about the version of ourselves that we need to become in order to heal our voices. So the state that we've been in, the person we've been being, all of our habits, all of the emotional turmoil and or roller coaster ride that we ride every day, all of this has contributed to our current state of affairs. So we need to become a new version of ourselves in order to heal our voices. We have to develop some new thoughts, new emotions, new energetic frequency. We have to, in turn, then develop new habits and ways that we navigate the world, new choices, new decisions. So what I want to suggest to you guys is that we need to start rewiring that old version of you into the new version with some basic truths. One of which is that your body knows how to heal and is always fighting to do it. This is hard to accept sometimes especially when we've been told by doctors that spasmodic dysphonia is a lifelong thing you have to endure. And sadly, it's that dashes your hope. And that is unnecessary because yes, your body does know how to heal. Just as if when we have a cut on our finger, we have to set the stage for the healing. And that's what we have to do also for our voices. When we have the cut, we put a Band-Aid on it, maybe put some ointment on that for healing our voices. We have to learn workarounds to keep our nervous system calm. We have to feed ourselves the most nutrient-dense foods so that our bodies have all the building blocks that it needs in order to repair the nerves. We have to deprive the pathogens of their food source. We have to start weeding out those heavy metals that are in our bodies as well. So it's really important to lay the groundwork for all of this because everything is a chain reaction. Just as we are bodily systems and all of our systems work together, and when one system gets out of whack, the next system starts to falter as well. Similarly, when we don't have our minds set up correctly and we're running those old programs, the fear-based programs that are initiated by our primordial fear-based survival brain, we cannot follow through with the habits that we're going to need to do in order to change and become the healing warrior that will be the guardian of all the protocols, all of the environments that we put ourselves in. We need that part of us to step forward that will become the guardian of our healing. I like to think of it as our inner healing warrior. We become the new version of ourselves in very, very small incremental steps. We're going to be making a 1% change every day, and otherwise the brain is going to reject it as false. When we are looking to change who we think we are, what we actually believe, all of those things can only be modified a little bit at a time, because I promise you, the brain is going to call BS when something doesn't ring true. So if I told you today you are going to heal your voice tomorrow by doing X, Y, and Z, you might say, that sounds too good to be true. But if I said to you, let's open the possibility, and I can't tell you the timeline exactly. It took me 2.5 years to fully regain my voice. So it took a minute for me to detox enough of the toxins and the pathogens out of my body and learn to regulate my nervous system. And again, I didn't have anyone leading me. You guys are lucky. You have me, you have my example, you have my testimonial of healing myself. Since 2021, I have never been a day without my voice. So I had spasmodic dysphonia for 3 years, and now that I've been healed, I have never had one single day where my voice has not been there. So this is a lasting change, but again, the lasting change takes a lot of groundwork. We want it to have a strong foundation. We don't want it blowing in the breeze, every strong wind that comes along in life. We want it to have durability. So how we do this is consistency over time. So this new version of yourself that even is just allowing for the possibility that healing is possible is opening up a new neural pathway for you, because you are now going to be piggybacking on that new neural pathway with new thoughts, new actions, and new curiosity. Let's just put it that way. If you can just keep a beginner's mind and say to yourself, okay, maybe I don't know everything at this point about spasmodic dysphonia or how to heal it. Let me just listen with a childlike curiosity and see if it resonates with you. See if, as you start slowly implementing maybe some of the things that I talk about, maybe you can, little by little, start seeing some minor changes that are happening. I cannot ever tell you a timeline of your healing, because I don't know how many toxins, pathogens, I don't know the state of your nervous system on a daily basis. I don't know what your emotional state is. I don't know what kind of traumas and past damage you have endured. All of this has to have a moment to heal. And we do this by becoming the new version of ourselves, by thinking about ourselves in a different way. When we get out of the victim mentality of this condition happened to me and it's a life sentence, instead, we can start having compassion for ourselves that we've been through some hard things. And in order to move past them, we need extra nurturing and extra self-love. and extra care and extra attention and time spent on what it is that is going to benefit our own healing. So, I don't know if this makes sense to you, but if it does, I want to just challenge you to open the door for the possibility of healing and recognize that your body knows how to heal it and is always striving to do it. You are perfectly worthy of love and nurturing and the abundance that the universe has to offer you. So it's up to you to start showing it to yourself. We do this in very small ways all day, every day. Just giving yourself a little bit of self-love and self-care. We do the things that bring us joy. The things that aren't self-destructive, that is. You know, our society is so geared to get our dopamine hits through some not so productive means. What we have to do is learn to provide those for ourselves in a more beneficial, healing, uplifting way. Thirdly, God and the universe have your back and are always striving for you. So instead of thinking that the world is out to get you, we start recognizing the little ways that God and the universe are supporting you and the good things that are happening, the glimmers every day. We have to retrain our filter of our brain to start looking for those good things. We all have a filter called the reticular activating system in our brain, and that is our brain telling us what information we should pay attention to. Well, this filter is oftentimes being run by that fear-based primordial brain instead of this new version of you that we're talking about that is looking for the good and looking for the healing and looking for the positive. This is what we want to do, is start focusing on those good things so that we can feel like we are in an emotionally better place every single day. Oftentimes we get triggered by things and then we spend the rest of the day in a foul mood and in this emotionally distraught state, and our adrenals are running, the adrenaline is coursing through our bodies, and we are in this situation which is keeping things inflamed, keeping our vagus nerve inflamed, and it's not allowing our immune system or our digestion or any of the other systems in our bodies to run properly. Therefore, we need to recognize it when we start getting triggered and allow ourselves to feel safe, to stop obsessing about that and to let it go, and to refocus our brain onto the good things that are happening, the things that are going right, and the simple facts that you are lovable, you are perfect, you don't have to prove it by your deeds or anything of that sort. So I don't know who needed to hear this today, but I hope that this is the starting point where you're going to start opening the door for the possibility of healing and opening the door for the new version of you, and opening the door for an amazing, wonderful, fulfilling life. Because I know it's so difficult to feel like you have that when you're just constantly worrying about everything that's coming out of your mouth. So I want to tell you, before I sign off today, I want to tell you about an upcoming event coming up on February 16th through the 21st. I'm going to be conducting a free 5-day challenge called Overcoming Spasmodic Dysphonia. I'm going to be outlining all of the tools that I use to heal my voice and give you guys a chance to start getting some momentum on your own healing journeys in the 5-day challenge. So I will include a link where you can sign up for the challenge, and it will be every day at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There will also be a bonus day. So, and when you go to sign up, there's also an opportunity if you want to join the VIP, you get to keep the recordings, because these recordings will be up for 10 days, but then they will be coming down. So if you want to have them as a resource to visit time and time again so that you can keep yourself on track, that is another option. That's a new option this time, actually. So the last times I have run this challenge, it has been so amazing. There has been so much participation. Everybody played full out, and I feel that everybody benefits from the energy that everyone else is bringing to the group and to the event. So I hope you're going to mark it on your calendar. I hope you'll register, and I look forward to seeing you in the challenge, and hopefully I'll see you before then. But otherwise, I hope you guys are having an amazing start to your new year. 2026 could be the year that you reclaim your voice. So I hope it is. I'm wishing you all so much love, and I can't wait to see you until next time.